Hello and welcome to Tea with Jess. I'm Jess Montgomery and I'm trying to show you my two of my three cats. Mycroft and Luna. I'm not sure if there you go, maybe. They're cuddled up together on the chair behind my desk. So, Tea with Jess. Life is hard, as Nana in the Kinship series says. Have tea. So, today I have my friendship mug. It says a sweet friendship refreshes the soul. And I chose this mug today because I had coffee actually with a friend of mine named Erin Flanagan. And it was very refreshing. I have to admit, I showed up feeling a little blue for reasons I'll talk about in a minute, and she made me feel so much better. This is her new novel, her first novel, actually, her first published novel, coming out September 1st, Deer Season. And I have read an advance copy. I gave it a blurb because it's wonderful. And I'm really excited for her book, Deer Season, September 1st. I'll have her on a Tea with Jess conversation sometime soon. But I wanted to give you a heads up about her great novel um, ahead of time because you can pre order it now. So, and I think you should. So, nope, now the cats are mewing. So, why was I feeling a little blue? Well, you may have seen on my Facebook page possibly that I had a little wee vacation with my husband, my darling husband, and his sister and her husband. We met up in Savannah, and we felt comfortable doing so because we've been vaccinated and we're very careful people. And it was time to, because we're vaccinated, to meet up and enjoy some time together, which we did. I promise it's a head cold. Actually, after we got back, we both, just to be safe, had had COVID tests and they came back negative. So, but since we had traveled and been in an airport before we got around other people with this Delta um, variant on the rise, we thought it was the smart thing to do to get a test. So we did, and we're fine. But we had a great time. A lovely tea, as you may have seen from the Facebook photos that I posted. Of course, we were going to have tea with Jess. I mean, come on. Of course we were. It was quite lovely. The real sad part was that our Dave, my sister-in-law's beloved husband, wasn't able to join us because he was taking care of a car repair. So he did that, which was very awesome, actually, that it was caught, even though he had to miss tea. It was awesome that it was caught a little early because the next day we were able to drive out to hike along a salt marsh, which was really interesting, totally different environment and nature than I'm used to seeing in southern Ohio. It was so hot, though. How hot was it, you ask? Well, let me tell you, it was so hot that at 98 degrees, with the feel temperature of 108 degrees, even the mosquitoes were in the shade. We did use bug spray, but we didn't have to because even the mosquitoes were taking cover. That's how hot it was. But we had a good time. But so why was I feeling a little blue this morning after such a lovely little miniature vacation a week or so ago? Well, while we were there, I started noticing that folks were canceling their trip to Bouchercon in New Orleans, which my husband and I were planning to go to because of the rising Delta variant cases and the overload on the hospital system in New Orleans and Louisiana. It did not seem like a good idea for us or for other people to go. So I ended up canceling our trip And then Bouchercon very wisely canceled the conference. I'm sure that had to be a heartbreaking decision for the local organizing committee in New Orleans, because I know it's got to be just a ton of work. So I felt really badly for them, but I also was impressed that they made the right decision for that conference at that particular time in that particular location. So Bouchercon itself will continue on next year in Minneapolis, which is exciting. And then I don't have the places memorized for the years after that, but in 2025, Bouchercon will return. Will be in New Orleans after all. So um, there you go. But it was awesome to meet up with my friend Erin, to chat with her, feel cheered up, get her to autograph my copy of Deer Season, which you can pre-order and get your very own copy by September 1st. So looking forward to having people read that. Speaking of reading things, I thought I would read to you a throwback sanity check essay. As I've said before on Tea with Jess, I used to be a humor columnist under a different name, but I was a humor columnist for 11 years for the Dayton Daily. And one of the things we did this summer was we cleaned out and repainted our garage. I have to say, and this was my husband's idea, but I have to say he was right. It's a great idea. It looks really fabulous. We did the ceiling, the walls, the floor, and it looks great. But we decided that we needed to get rid of a few things for a special pickup, um, and we decided to throw away old trash cans. Um, and we had to label them. The city asked us to label that the trash cans were, in fact, part of the trash. So that reminded me of a column I wrote years ago called How Do You Trash a Trash Can? And just for fun, I thought I would read it to you. So here we go. How do you trash a trash can? How do you throw away a trash can? This is not a rhetorical question. This is a serious inquiry based on 4 weeks of attempting to throw away 3 large trash cans. Of course, throwing away a tiny trash can is simple. You just stuff it into a larger trash can. The problem is, the last time I threw away a tiny trash can, the entire house got redecorated. See, my spiffy new trash can was somewhere between a bisque and a taupe, which clashed with the background color to the border in my home office. So the border needed to be replaced, but first the walls needed repainted to match the hues of the border. And once all of that was done, I realized the hall wall color disconcertingly clashed with my office wall color. So that needed repainted. And of course, the hall leads to other rooms, plus the stairs, which lead downstairs, and the new wall color clashed with the trim color, and the trim is right by the carpet, which was off just a shade. Perhaps I shouldn't have been surprised that when I suggested we might want to replace our 3 10-year-old household trash cans, my husband went pale and gasped, "Are you sure? Think of their sentimental value." They're so old, they leak. We leave a little trail behind us whenever we drag them to the curb, I said. Besides, am I really supposed to believe you're sentimental about a trio of trash cans? You're right, he admitted. I just don't want to have to repaint the whole house. When we were reduced to asking the neighbors if they might rent us some space in their trash cans, he finally agreed we should replace the trash cans. Which brings us back to our non rhetorical question: how do you throw away a trash can? The first week, we tried making signs taped to the trash can lids. Please throw away trash and cans, thank you. It rained, the signs dissolved, the trash cans stayed. The second week, we had new signs laminated and superglued them to the trash can lids. A windstorm ensued, the lids blew away, the trash cans stayed. The third week, we all took turns waiting up all night for the trash collectors, but we dozed off. We ran down the street hollering, "Please take our trash cans and our trash." But we were too late. The trash cans stayed. we decided we were stuck with the trash cans. However, luck was with us. The trash collectors came later than usual the fourth week, happening by as I was putting something out in the mailbox. The nice trash collector looked at my oozing, moaning, pathetic trash cans, then looked at me and said, "Ma'am, we, the city's entire maintenance department, that is, have been wondering, are these cans containers for your trash or part of your trash?" I bet that's the first time that nice trash collector has been hugged by a woman weeping with joy who's unrelated to him while she's still in her bathrobe and sipping coffee. So, finally, by this stroke of luck, our trash cans were gone. My husband bought 3 new replacements and beamed as only a man can about such a purchase. Aren't these beauts? Power Pro snap lock lids, titanium based 40 psi wheels. It's amazing the advancements in the past 10 years in trash can technology. At least he was beaming until I said, "Just wondering, do you think the new trash cans clash with the garage door color?" So, obviously, exaggerated every now and then, as my children like to point out to me, embellished a little bit when I wrote to the humor column back in the day. Uh, and that's true. But I do remember that we had a heck of a time trying to throw away those trash cans. So hopefully this time around, approximately 20 years later, we'll have an easier time of doing so. And of course, I have to say, um, to we try to be very mindful about what we throw away and how much we throw away. And we try to recycle as much as we can, reduce, reuse, recycle. Very important. It was important 20 years ago. It's even more important now. So it's interesting to see how older pieces of writing sometimes age well or sometimes not as well. I don't think I'd be quite as cavalier in writing about throwing away things today as I was 20 years ago. But when you know better, you do better, as the saying goes. So, but it's at least a little bit of humor, and we could all use a little humor break every now and then. So I hope you enjoyed that. Um, so next week, my tea with Jess is an interview, a chat, I should say, a chat with my friend and an editor named Tiffany Yates Martin. She has written this wonderful book, Intuitive Editing. Um, and it's based on her principles as an editor, a developmental editor. She works with a lot of writers. She worked with me on or an early version of The Widows, the first in my kinship mystery series. Fabulous editor, just an all-around wonderful person. And she is also a writer. She writes the write and walks the walk, if you will, as a writer under the pen name Phoebe Fox. So I highly recommend her novels written as Phoebe Fox, but I also highly recommend her as an editor. She has a lot of great material on her website, a lot of free material, a lot of recommendations. She has courses that she does, and she also, of course, is available for engagement as an editor on any writing projects. And she has this fabulous book, Intuitive Editing, which is the best book actually I've read on how to revise. So those of you who are interested in being a writer and wondering how to hone that particular part of your craft, I know Tiffany will have a lot of great things to say next Monday. Or if you're just curious about, how do writers work and how do they go about editing, next week would be a great time to tune in and find out what Tiffany has to share with us, her wisdom and nuggets of wisdom that she'll be sharing with us. So I'm looking forward to seeing her um, on Tea with Jess next week. So between now and then, be well, be safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Stay safe. Life is hard still, Actually, life is always hard. Sometimes it just feels a little harder than otherwise. So life is hard. Have tea. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in a week. Bye bye.